We know what it is, but now we don't know what it is because what it is no longer what it was. On today's Unnamed Real Estate Podcast. You know, it took me 3 tries to get that teaser right. Actually, it took me 1 try to get the teaser right, and it was perfect. Except that little switch there on the mic wasn't actually turned on, so I didn't get what I said originally, which was just profound. What you saw on the teaser was just a pale shadow of the brilliance that just flowed from my mouth, as soon as I saw the counter countdown. My name is Charles Ray Dawson. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, episode 78. I am the associate broker and residential sales manager here at ProStar. And it's Thursday. And it's, once again, we're having a really fun week. This is going to be a short episode because although there's a lot of stuff going on in the news right now, there's also a lot of stuff going on in real estate right now. That makes for busy Rays. So, Let's start off with the top of the headline news. Real obvious, as we talked about last week, that this is the pretty much the witching week for all things economics going on right now. I think Tuesday we had the consumer price index came across, and then yesterday we had the Feds do their rate hike. They only went up 3/4. There were people starting to talk that maybe they'd go up a full point. But the 3/4 are pretty much baked in the cake. But it did, once again, the loan markets are bouncing around like it's crazy right now. Now, that being said, yesterday morning, a buyer of mine was able to lock in a rate in at 5 1/4. And because I was able to get him 3% closing costs and stuff like that, he's going to actually buy down that rate to probably about 5 1/8. Like I said, we've been saying this for a couple of weeks now. Start leaning towards your special financing concepts. Start getting more creative within your bid, because we're definitely, balanced market in most of the valley right now. Buyer's market in now 2 cities, and we'll be covering those in a bit. But the it was funny because Wednesday morning I literally called the lender before I called the client, just so we could start getting leaning forward to lock the rate, because between the two of us, we didn't know when that Fed announcement was going to happen. We just knew it was going to be soon, and we know it could have had like an immediate impact on the rates at that moment. So let's get it done, and we got it pretty good. And the funny thing is, 5 1/4. 5 1/4 was actually a rate I was paying when I bought my house back in 2004. All right, so I showed you that chart a couple weeks ago, but with all of the interest rates over time, and that how it averaged out to about 7.7. All right, and that includes the 18s that we had in 1981, 1980, 1982, all the way down to the 2 and changes we were getting just last year, actually. So we're 5 1/4. That's still a doable rate if housing wasn't so really expensive, because remember, we've had this huge run up in prices because of the low rates of last year and because of the impact of COVID and everything like that. People suddenly working from home because of the great migration from, California and other states, that people are just leaving those failing states, moving here to Arizona. That's, this is where we're at. Got no magic wand to wave. All right. We just roll with it. Adjust on the fly, and that's what we've been doing. So, but it's fascinating because today, Thursday, the numbers came out that we knew were coming out. All right, and the gross domestic product shrunk again. All right, this is a second quarter of the economy literally contracting, getting smaller. And there's a technical term for this, or there was a technical term for this, and this is what I alluded to in the teaser. All right. We used to call 2 consecutive quarters of 0 or less, right, meaning below 0, meaning negative, all right, growth. If you had 2 consecutive quarters, it was called a recession. All right. Now it's no longer called a recession. And you could tell we were going to have a recession without having a recession about late last week, when all of a sudden the talking heads on the news and all the talking heads on the paper, you can really see them start front-loading arguments if you pay attention. They started walking back the very concept of what a recession was. And they started saying, well, there's other things that go into it, and there's this and that, the other thing. All right. Strangely enough, nobody knew what these things were until some think tank focus group came up with that. I'd say about like last Thursday, a week out. And then all of a sudden we had this brand new definition. Reminds me once upon a time when I realized that my apostrophe S to denote possession, the rules of that, if the name ends in S, has suddenly changed, and nobody told Ray. All right, so it's a lot like that. And so last week I was like pointing these out to friends and family and stuff like that, going, "Hey, note this." And I just walk up and say, "Hey, do you know what the definition of a recession is?" And they'd go, "No." But, the smart ones would go, "Oh yeah, that's when we have two consecutive quarters of 0 or less growth." And I said, "Yes, remember that, because we're going to wake up next week in a completely different universe where that's not the rules anymore. We're going to have a completely new definition of it." And they laughed, went, "Oh, Ray, you're crazy. Here, have some tinfoil." And yet here we are, completely new definition. I'm not sure what the new definition is. I'm not even sure if it's a word anymore. Right, but where we're in, what we're in right now, we'll come up with something cool to call it, I'm sure. And it is so screwed up right now that you can't even go to Wikipedia and look up the definition of what a recession is. You cannot research recession on Wikipedia, because for the last 3 days, they've been having this editing war over there, where somebody came in there, cut out the entire paragraph saying, "What is a recession?" made it go away, and then wrote a new paragraph. And then somebody came and saw that, went, "Nope," and put it back. And so we have multiple editors on Wikipedia right now literally watching this, and they're changing each other's, re-editing the posts and everything like that, which is one of the things that makes Wikipedia a lot of fun. I mean, seriously, a lot of fun. I like the fact that you can go to Wikipedia, click on a button, and see who and when something was edited. And it's in the logs. That's always something they've been really good at. They're very, very transparent when it comes to going in and checking the logs. And you can go in there and see whether or not somebody's changed some little opinion of fact. And I'm a big fan of facts and truth and stuff like that. But, now Wikipedia is basically just all somebody's opinion right now. And especially when it comes to this particular subject. So, yeah, we got that going on for us. So whether or not we're in a recession, or whether or not we're just in a downturn, or whether or not we were having, economic instabilities, it's still affecting our numbers and everything we got going on here in Maricopa County, state of Arizona. So let's take a look. We'll start off with the numbers to start with, and we'll work off of that. So these were the numbers I took yesterday, July 27th, 2022. Actives this week are 17,210, up 809 from last week. Our new listings are 2,752, which is actually down 29 from the previous week. And I'm going to pause my chatter here just for a second, because I want you to really pay attention to our 3 red circles on here, because this is weird. All right. Pendings this week, 1,318 listings went pending. That is exactly the same number as the week before. I double checked it. It's not a typo, boys and girls. All right. Under contracts looking for backup, 818, up only 3 from the previous week. All right. And contracts with a buyer's contingency actually fell 1. So 107 new contracts with a buyer's contingency. We have 2 consecutive weeks, all right, where there is 0 change in the amount of properties going under contract. How's that for odd? All right, we have 2,752 new listings. All right, we just talked about that, which is down a little bit from before. All right, but you can see all of a sudden we had that bump of 809. So yeah, right, and our closings were 1,463. Still, the closings are getting down. We've now hit that point where, since the closing takes average between 30 to 45 days, that the closed number that you see is actually a lagging indicator about 30 to 45 days back of houses that supposedly went under contract. Right? And coming soon is 911. So our Cromford numbers coming up. Our demand is at 81.8. Right, so we below demand. We're supposed to be at 100 on that. 100 on that level denotes normal market, right? And our listings are still at 63, still creeping up, all right? But we're 63 houses where we should have 100, and we have an 81 buyers where we should have 100 buyers, and we have a what looks like a 4-to-3 ratio, 4 buyers for every 3 houses. As those numbers keep getting closer and closer, then that's when you'll start seeing the true balance. In fact, you could almost say when they get within, say, 10 of each other, will be balanced. We'll keep an eye on that. Let me do some research on that. I'll get back to you. All right. Other things, this new chart that I'm bringing in here is just to show you the individual cities, all right, and the Crime Report Market Index on those. As we can see at the bottom, Buckeye, Queen Creek, they are now officially buyers markets in those two. Maricopa, right there on the edge, right? They're at 85.4 right now. When you see that go to, actually it's 90 on that. So yeah, they've moved down too. Maricopa is now a buyer's market. Right. So if you guys are looking for deals, and I don't think there are actual deals, but if you're looking at houses that you actually can see that weekend, write an offer, have a pretty good chance of being the only offer on the person's table. All right, those are your 3 cities to take a look at right now. You're going to go look at Maricopa, Queen Creek, and Buckeye. Enjoy the drive. All right. Next one's coming in just at balance. Right, this is considered a normal when you're between 90 and 110. All right, we have Gilbert, we have Tempe, we have Surprise, we have Chandler, Peoria. All right, these are all normal markets at this point, historically normal. All right, and then we look at Glendale. Glendale is 101, 111. That puts them just barely in what we can still would consider a seller's market. All right, but look at how fast these things have dropped. This is the changes over the last month. All right, and this is a month-to-month thing, so it's not like that was all of July. This is just what's happened in the last 30 days on these things. So, the ones that we're calling out. All right, Buckeye, 30 days ago. All right, that is technically, all right, going to technical definitions here. All right, which hopefully will not change by next week. All right, that was still technically a seller's market 30 days ago in Buckeye. Same thing in Queen Creek. Still a seller's market 30 days from now. Now it's flipped all the way over to a buyer's market. That's how fast we just moved. All right, so let's see. We left off on Glendale. Okay, Glendale and Phoenix are tied right now in that 111.2. So just sort of right there. But look at the drop that we had. The bigger drop was in Glendale right now. They used to be at 191. That's a strong seller's market right there. Phoenix was in 172, strong seller's market. All right, Glendale fell faster. Mesa. All right, still barely a seller's market, but then you got this tranche. You just jump up there. Goodyear, 129. Okay, that's still pretty much a seller's market out there. Avondale, Cave Creek, and there's Fountain Hill sitting pretty, and Paradise Valley, because ultimately, and Scottsdale, and Cave Creek's pretty expensive too. Pricier neighborhoods do not get impacted by interest rates. Pricey neighborhoods get impacted by the stock market. All right, so they're almost in like a league of their own over there. So that's where we're at. That's where we are at. Like I said, Fed just announced their rates and everything like that yesterday. The lenders are still trying to figure out what's going on, what the rates are going to be right now. We're going to go into a really interesting weekend because at a certain point, buyers don't know how much they have in their pocket to buy at this point. We really need, let's just give us a couple weeks to stabilize these things out. All right. And it's one of the funny things that whenever you see like a real serious rate change or anything like that, there's always like this doldrum period, like this, for a week or two, where it's just like everybody stops shopping. And then it picks back up when people get normal numbers. Lenders, come in off the ledge, call their clients up, or more likely their clients call their lender up and say, okay, run my numbers, how much can I afford now? And then they get that information over to the agent and say, Mr. Agent, Mrs. Agent, find me where I can go on these things. They're like, okay, yeah, I guess we're driving out to Buckeye. So that's our new trend on that. So I don't have any special subjects or anything that we're going to cover. Like I said, busy week. I am getting a video editor in. I actually hired a virtual assistant company to start doing video editing. I'm going to have them go back through my previous library of stuff. I want to have them pull out my contract discussion and maybe put those in a more formal, more hopefully optically better, as my wife would put it, maybe more coherent. Thanks, hon. Thank you. And maybe get some value out of that right there. So thank you guys very much. I want you guys to have a great weekend. It looks like it might actually rain all weekend, so it sounds great. Come visit me at my open house that I'm going to be down in Tempe this weekend on Sunday between 11 and 4. All right, and you can PM me and I'll text you the address and everything like that. That way I don't have stalker access suddenly showing up at my open houses. But you guys have a great weekend. Even though we probably won't be out in the swimming pool, watch your pets and children around water. All right, work your circles and have a great weekend.